Hi there. So I hesitated on making this video because I largely enjoy being a raw gameplay channel. I don't think I'm great at talking to strangers out in the void. I don't want to be some type of personality or commentary channel. But occasionally a topic comes up that piques my interest in such a way I feel the need to talk about it. And this is one of those times. So over the weekend, 343 Industries, the people that have been behind Halo since CE Anniversary, announced they are rebranding as Halo Studios. And this caused an immediate flood of Halo YouTube videos, Halo Reddit posts saying, oh, thank God we're saved. The one that really jumped out to me was a very well-known personality in the community, Mint Blitz, put up the headline, all caps on his video, Halo is saved, 343 is dead. And I felt like this community, which is so desperate for good news, immediately jumped on this and are being unrealistic about it. So I wanted to bring a little realism to the table. Before I get into that, I want to briefly discuss my personal history with the franchise. I was young when CE, Halo 1, came out, and actually had no interest in the original Xbox until I saw it at a friend's house and thought, holy cow, they have managed to bring over essentially the kind of PC shooter experience. They finally did it in a way that had not properly been done before that. I was impressed. I saved up money and I went and bought one as soon as possible. I love that game to this day. It's the one I play. I loved Halo 2 when it came out. The multiplayer, the early Xbox Live, it was some earth-shattering stuff to have that kind of system on a console. I also really loved Halo 3, though it came out towards the end of my high school tenure, and I was kind of making sure I got out of school and into college, living more of a social life, so I did play it less than 1 and 2. I did not play any of the 343 games until Master Chief Collection. When they released the PC version, I got it pretty quickly. I watched as all those games were dropped one by one, usually with various issues, bugs, and hiccups. And then I kind of learned about 343's tenure with the franchise in reverse through really incredible documentaries and long-form videos and posts about different problems the game's had. And I tried to learn as much as possible. That's something I believe in when I have an interest in a topic. 343's run with this series has largely been an embarrassment, if we're being real. I mean, let's just take Master Chief Collection for a second. This game was in various states of broken, completely broken, for 7 years. 7. They only finally started to fix it up and add things to it and make it better once the PC version came out, long after Halo 5. So they sat on this and let people have a broken product for over half a decade. That alone is just so alarming and not acceptable. And it's something when I see people defend the company, I just think, what the hell is wrong with folks? If Bungie had released a product that was broken for 7 years back in the day, they would have been laughed out of the industry, even after they had garnered a significant reputation. And the releases they did on PC weren't perfect too. It took them a long time to fix the classic graphics in Halo 1 and 2. Halo 2 multiplayer released with one of the craziest bugs I have ever seen in my life, where shots, projectiles, rockets could warp through the floor if you were looking down and another player was also looking down. Just hideous things that clearly weren't playtested. Halo 3 has shot registration issues to this day. They claim to have fixed Halo 2's in the last major update in 2023, but I do not believe it's still up to par. The fan port, Project Cartographer, for the old PC version still feels much, much better. I even remember, I never played Reach and 4 until this collection, and my Reach playthrough was fine, and I understand why people love that story. I didn't care for the multiplayer. But my Halo 4 experience was crazy. I ended up running into the bug where, I don't remember the name of the level offhand, but where you have to drive on the giant super elephant, the mammoth thing. The void, the ground underneath disappeared, and I could not complete the level without fully exiting and coming back in. It's crazy to have that kind of bug. Not in a game that, that they didn't make. Them trying to port the Bungie games over, but in the one they did make. And then later on, there's a super important scene where you talk to the librarian. And I had a lighting rendering bug where she was completely black. Just her eyes were visible. And I thought that's how the model was supposed to look because I had never seen full footage of the game. I had no clue. So when I eventually tried to play it a second time and she had a texture, I was shocked. I know they only fixed a lighting bug in one of the critical Halo 4 cutscenes, the famous Surrender the Construct scene, in the last year. So, I mean, just to have a collection broken for 10 years is nuts. And to this day, I mean, there are so many issues with MCC that are never going to be addressed. Co-op is permanently messy. It's a peer-to-peer system, it is funky, and it does not work right. You get kicked out, the second player has an obscene amount of lag. It's not a proper experience to do that online. Team chat and custom browser was broken in subsequent games in the last major update in 2023. Clearly, they are never fixing that because it's not matchmaking and they don't care. This doesn't affect matchmaking because matchmaking is always a new instance. It always quits out to menu and reloads the game. But custom browser is a substantial chunk of their player base. If you look up how many Halo 3 and Reach servers there are, it's a lot. So for them to leave that just festering was unfortunate. It really hurt team play in a game where very few people use a microphone. One that's more personal to me is people noticed immediately after Halo 1 came out in this version, and then especially with Halo 2, that the mouse was broken with vehicles. And what I mean by that, unfortunately no vehicles here to show it off, there should be a turn resistance that was coded into the game when you're in a vehicle, even if you're on a mouse. And this just makes it so that you can't instantly 360, turn your Banshee around on a dime, fly upside down. It existed in the Gearbox version of Halo 1 as well, so we know that that's the way it's supposed to work. They never fixed it, and there is no turn resistance while you're in a vehicle, and this allows people like me to be absurd drivers, way better than I deserve to be. You instantly turn, you can instantly, especially the Halo 2 Banshee might be the most egregious example of it. And it's one of those things where even though I benefit from that as a player, I would rather have them fix it and make the game work like it's supposed to, even if it kind of nerfs me in my skill or whatever. But that will never be fixed. And I know they've been informed about that because I know people filed mass reports on it, especially when Halo 2 came out, and the Banshee, if it was controlled by a solid mouse player, was basically a brick wall. Another thing I think about like that is the cheating. I'm sure people who are more familiar with the MCC stuff will know there's been a really bizarre outpouring of cheating in recent years. And it's not just casual, oh, they have aim assist, they're hacking. It's really severe stuff. It's flying through the maps. It's changing your player name in a matchmaking match especially so that it says another player. So Cheater 1 could be named whatever, XX Cheat Machine, and he can change his name to where it's displayed as my name, Exploded Bagel 08. And then people will report me as a cheater. Or maybe send that video to the support site or whatever. And then in the last year or so, it evolved. Oh, I didn't know that was a window. It evolved to the point where people were able to take control of the other player's functions. So they could make it where I just endlessly switch weapons or reload. Stuff that probably means that we're almost up to a kernel level access on a computer. That is extremely serious business. And that's just been left unaddressed. And yes, they're not actively working on this game anymore, and I know that would be their excuse, but sometimes things are such a problem they have to be addressed even if you've mostly dropped support. You whip up a small team and you say, hey, we're going to fix this vehicle look bug, we're going to find out, work with easy anti-cheat and figure out a solution to this absurd amount of cheating. But they just, hand wave, whatever. So while I have not spent a lot of time with Halo Infinite, my dear sister has played it consistently, and we've always kept up on it. I keep up with the news. They made a big showing of, we've invented a new slipspace engine when that game came out. And in reality, the coding proves that it's essentially an upgraded Blam engine, the same engine that Halo 1, 2, 3, Reach, all those others are built on. They're kind of essentially doing what Bethesda has done with the Gamebryo engine. Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, they all ran on it, Fallout 4. And the problem with that is that you do end up with something essentially called technical debt. You're trying to fix problems for a system you did not create. And 343 has really always made this problem worse because Microsoft and 343 are seemingly very big on contracting out jobs. So if you really get into the nitty-gritty of it, especially here in MCC, you'll learn that different teams made the graphics for CE Anniversary and for Halo 2 Anniversary. You know, a team made those really great cutscenes for Halo 2 Anniversary. Certain Affinity made a lot of maps for Reach in the first era of 343 when they were taking over the franchise. And while they've been a little quieter about how this process works in modern times, a big part of why Halo Infinite was messed up was team of contractors works for 12 months, 16 months. They make stuff. Later on, people have to try to fix the bugs that Team A made, but they don't know how stuff was handled. They didn't code that. And then when they try to fix it, they break other things. And that's how you end up with stuff in Halo Infinite, like the menus being a total nightmare. You know, modes breaking, matchmaking breaking on the regular. To the point where they've pretty much dropped support for Halo Infinite as well. I know they'll release some skins, they might drop some lazy Forge map occasionally, but it is not... They promised it would be a 10-year live service, and it is most certainly not that. It is on life support already. So when you just think back to all these different problems that 343 has had, I won't even get into stuff like just like the trend chasing, pretending to be Call of Duty, writing stories and then having your next game totally ignore that story. The list would just, this would be a 2-hour video. But at a base level, changing the company name does not mean fully changing the staff or how that company operates unless they show that to be the case. At this point, you need to not trust 343 or Halo Studios until they prove that things are different. And a name swap doesn't fix that. They have gotten rid of some of the worst troublemakers, I would say. The one I will particularly call out is Frank O'Connor. He essentially ran the Bungie website, the stats website and the update website back in like Halo 2 and 3. And then as the company moved on from Halo, he stuck around and was the head of 343 and creative for a long time. Many of the worst excesses of this franchise are definitely laid at that man's feet, and I'm glad he's gone. But I need to see more to build trust. The rumor mill has started spinning really hard, and based on the footage they showed this weekend, I firmly believe their first project to try to say, hey, we're a new company, we're working with Unreal Engine, we're different now, is going to be a Halo 1 remake. And as a lifelong now Halo 1 fan, this really worries me. Remakes is it's them chasing another trend. Something like Silent Hill 2 Remake, which I'm glad to say seems to have turned out pretty good, is going to make a whole lot of money. It released at a good time, where there's not a lot of games coming out. In October, the spooky month, it's going to do buku bucks. And I'm glad for them, you know, it seems to be good. I might have some quibbles on minor things, but it's treated with respect. Based on how the Halo CE Anniversary, Halo 2 Anniversary, the overall package, I just don't think they're going to be able to accomplish the same thing. They seem incapable of coming up with a new interesting story or worlds, so they try to rehash better people's work. And honestly, Infinite was a lot like that. It felt like you were playing an open world, 10-hour version of the second mission of Halo 1 here. Something else I think worth considering as far as a Halo 1 remake goes is that sometimes art isn't just defined by what it accomplished, also by what it accomplished despite the limitations the artist had to face. I really think you see this best in movies and video games. The right minds at the right time with the right struggle push up against that adversity and they make something truly unique and wonderful. And Halo 1, they were working with a console they did not know that was brand new. They had incredible crunch and pressure to get it out on time. They used the limitations to really motivate them to make the best product possible. And I feel like you see signs of that, especially in Halo 1, 2, and 3. I mean, in Halo 2, they had to basically nuke their entire game because it wasn't running right on the consoles and go from the ground up with 6 months to go. And they still made an incredible product. So I think this about addresses most of my points, but please do not trust Halo Studios until they have released a product that is feature complete, not some kind of gross money-making scheme to sell you skins and nonsense. It's not, make sure it's not buggy. Trust what you've played. You've seen how this company operates. You've played their products. You've been disappointed. You've watched as grenades sink through the floor, as season updates make matchmaking break. On and on and on. Don't trust all these Halo YouTubers who are so desperate for content that they are going to clutch at any straw that falls in their lap. Wait it out. Be skeptical. Be smart. Trust yourself. Trust your own judgment. Don't buy into hype and very obvious, questionable 343 stands on Reddits and YouTube comments telling you everything's going to be so great now. I don't know. Corporations are a tough thing. But Bungie really, they were industry trend-setting when they had this franchise. We helped sell a console. We helped create the infrastructure for online multiplayer and how that will work moving forward. Twin stick controls on a pad. Really elevating the entire medium. And nothing 343 has done has even come close to that. And in fact, a lot of it has been painful and messy and buggy and incomplete. So, just manage your expectations. Be wise. And while much like Silent Hill 2 remake, if they make a Halo 1 remake, I hope it's awesome. I hope the Unreal Engine, which is so much easier to work with, allows them to do great things with way less of these struggles with technical debt and UIs breaking and systems breaking. But until I see that product and I know it's solid, I won't trust them. And I don't think you should either. So that's it. End rant. Thank you for watching.